Hello and welcome to FPL Happy Hour episode. Oh, I said that wrong. No, already. Hello and welcome to FPL Happy Hour episode 2 of season 4. And we're live with myself, Sham, otherwise known as FPL 2 Guys 1 Cup on Twitter.
And myself, Rob, otherwise known as FPL Panda.
And we're back again for episode 2. How are you, Rob?
All good. Recovered from the weekend. Had a bit of a messy one on Saturday after I went up to Spurs with the old man and yeah, had a few beverages. But yeah, all recovered now.
Nice. So I was at Fest on Friday night and it
Yeah, how
went
did
pretty
that go?
well. Yeah, really good. It was decent.
After your wedding, you snuck away from the wedding. Well, not
Stuck
your
away from the
wedding.
wedding. Not my wedding. No, I was at a registry and a lunch, which I was best man for, and then finished at like 4ish, and then went to Fest. So yeah, it was pretty good. I was pretty much on the same team that I finished up on, but I was like ended up with like 2.5 million in the bank, and then I was like, okay, I'll do Neto to Rashford, and then at 3 minutes to deadline, I had Haaland and Kuleveski in my side with nothing on the bank, and then I took them out and switched it back, and basically as I pressed the submit button at 6:30, it basically came up with a refresh button, and I didn't know what my team was.
You had to sit there for
So
half an hour and wait
yeah,
to see what
yeah.
you
So
had.
the team before was Haaland and Kuleveski, and I swapped it to Rashford and Kane. So which was shit, and I ended up with obviously Rashford and Kane. So
It's always the way though. Like,
yeah,
it's never gonna. It would never have. And then if the switch to Haaland and Kulusevski came through, like yeah, Kane goes and bangs. Rashford actually plays football, and yeah, there you go. Um, more on that later.
yeah. Well, let's go through what our agenda today is. So we're going to look at our game week 1 sides. We're then going to go through our ones to watch. Our hot topic, which this week is what transfers are considered knee jerk, and it's wildcard knee jerk. And at what point do you wildcard? What team do you need to have to wildcard? We'll then talk a bit about general football, so West Ham and Man United, and I'm sure you'll talk probably a bit longer having a rant about Man United, Rob. Then we'll talk about any other teams that we may want to discuss if there is anything. Go through our teams for game week 2, and if anyone's in the chat and wants to ask any questions, we can then do a Q&A before we end the stream. So let's go then with our teams for game week 1.
Let's go through yours first because we've touched on yours, haven't we already? So
Yeah, so we ended up with 62 points. My side ended up with Ramsdale, TAA, Robertson, Cancelo, and Trippier. So I had Perisic on my side and switched to Trippier after the news that Perisic wasn't going to be starting, basically. And then went with Salah, Bailey, Rashford, Martinelli in the middle. I did have Neto instead of Rashford for a long period of time, and then I swapped to Kulezeski, and then went back to Rashford, and then Kane and Jesus up top. And again, I had Haaland in my side and switched to Kane. I think it was unlucky because those that went Kane knew that they would smash Southampton, and they did smash Southampton. But when was the last time out of 8 possible like returns from goal from a goal and an assist does Kane not deliver? Right, they scored 4 and he didn't even get a single return. I don't think I've seen that before. So that was really unfortunate. And then I just had the standard bench of Ward, Andreas, Nico Williams, and Archer. So scored 62 in the end. The average is 57. So 2.9 million game week rank, just short of 3 million, which is a bit disappointing. But it is what it is.
yeah, yeah. I wasn't. Well, I wasn't better at all. I was a lot worse. So yeah, I ended up with Raya in goal. I doubled up in the end on TAA and Robertson with Cancelo. I mean, that Liverpool performance was unexpected and disappointing. I thought that like potentially those 3 I was more concerned about Cancelo than I was about the other two. Um, so I was thinking, oh, that's a good foundation, 3 clean sheets at the back there. I was 50-50 between Rashford and Martinelli all Friday afternoon, but it would have left me with a fair bit in the bank, and I already have 1 million in the bank. So I wanted to spend that bit of extra on Martinelli. Um, that didn't go. That didn't go the right way. Yeah, Neto showed moments. Wolves a bit disappointing really against Leeds. Same with Mbumo. He was brilliant in pre-season. But I think Brentford showed a lot of promise against Leicester. I think there will be opportunities. I always knew the sort of first 2 or 3 weeks from Brentford are going to would be tough, but then after that they've got a nice run of fixtures, and that's what I've bought in Mbumo in for. So I mean, the way we played on Sunday against Brighton, I wouldn't even be surprised if he got some form of return against us um, on Saturday evening. So yeah, no need to panic there. Kane, like you said, you'd expected some form of return there, and Jesus as well. I think he got in the right positions and um, had a couple of good chances. I think he should have come away with at least 2 assists um, on Friday night, and yeah, it was just
Although,
unlucky.
do you know what his XA was?
It wasn't very high. Uh,
0.
is it 0? I think it's
Yeah, which is
probably more
surprising.
naught. I think I know. I think I saw it at 0.3. I'm going to double
No, it
check
was
that
0.
because I'm sure I saw it
So,
at.
well, if it's wrong, James from Planet FPL was wrong because he said it was on his podcast today. So I'm blaming him if it's wrong.
I'm
But on
sure.
Understat, it was 0. But the reason why he was saying was 0 was the assists that he would have got, the 2 assists, they were FPL assists. They wouldn't have been actual assists.
Um, yeah, it was. Yeah, it was 0. It was 0.
Yeah.
He an XG though of
So,
0.14. Um,
yeah.
so it wasn't an absolute disaster. I mean, I think he's still brilliant value. Like
Yeah,
8
definitely.
million against a team that is going to be fighting for a top 4 spot. You're going to expect over the course of the season he's going to score 15 to 20 goals because he's shown at City that he's a brilliant goal scorer and creator of goals. He's going to pick up return. I reckon like he should get 20 plus attacking returns over the season,
I'm with you on
which
that one.
for an 8
Yeah.
million forward is like brilliant, isn't it? Like
Yeah,
you'd pay
agree.
9 to 10 million for that. So yeah, I still think he's great value. And I mean, he's not going anywhere from my team um, straight away. Yeah, I think it's one of those weeks. Like it's game week 1, lots of 50-50s for a lot of people went the wrong way, and then lots of 50-50s for a lot of people went the right way. Um, you don't have like you've got your pre-season info and everything to go by. But yeah, now it's down to business, and we've only got 90 minutes worth of information really to go by from everyone else. Like a week ago, everyone was writing Erling Haaland off after his performance in the Charity Shield. Essentially, it's a glorified friendly, isn't it? It's another pre-season game. It's not the it's not the real thing. And you saw firsthand at the London Stadium when he's on it, and he's pretty devastating.
Yeah, more of that shortly. Right, let's move on to our ones to watch. So these are two players that we pick each, players that we are keeping an eye on either to bring in this week or potentially in weeks to come, but players that we think show good promise for future weeks. So the two that I've chosen is Darwin Núñez and Zinchenko. So one of the reasons why I picked Nunes, you could see that Fulham game before he came onto the pitch, the whole team had no shots on target, and as soon as he comes in, he's just on it, and he finished with 3 shots on target for the game. Nearly scored that goal. Sorry, scored that goal. Tried to. I don't think it was quite an assist for. Well, it classes as assist, but
Yeah,
I don't think he was trying to assist Salah.
I don't think either of them he was trying to do what he was at, what the outcome
No,
was.
no.
Yeah,
Um,
the goal he
but
got quite lucky, and the assist I think he's trying to take it first time on the side foot, like
yeah,
to divert it towards the goal, and completely fluffs it. But is what it is,
yeah.
and
Either way, I think he's on it, and I think he'll soon start to be that number 9 to start up top for Liverpool. Either way, he'll come on for the last half an hour, as we saw at Craven Cottage, and be on it and deliver. He got goal and assist in the space of half an hour. So I think Darwin Núñez is definitely one to watch. He'll be in our side shortly. Don't know if we should be making that move yet, but definitely in the next couple of weeks, I think it's one to keep an eye on. And then Zinchenko, I was watching the Arsenal game, and he was playing almost he was playing as high as Saka. And Saka was probably, I would say, playing like a right wing back position, not quite in that high up the field. But Zinchenko was playing as high up him as him. So Zinchenko, I think, is one that we should be keeping an eye on. Already moved up in price. I think he's gone to 5.1 now. Got an assist on the weekend. Arsenal have got a good run of fixtures for the next 8 to 10 games. So if you've got that spot, some people may be moving off Perisic now, potentially after having him, after Sessegnon had a good game. And if you are, then Zinchenko is definitely one to keep an eye on. Rob, do you want to go through yours?
yeah. So I've gone with 2 Newcastle players because I mean we saw Newcastle at the end of last season, and they were very good, and it was going to be interesting how they started this season where they've sort of strengthened in some key areas on the pitch. But there's still a lot of the sort of same faces as well as last year. They're mainly strengthened defensively, which I think they needed. So I've gone my ones to watch at the moment. Callum Wilson, um, who I think at 7.5 million is a nice. He could be good value. Um, I think it's the reason I didn't start with, sort of didn't entertain the idea of him to start with was the 7.5 million price tag, because you don't want to shell out for him and then he gets injured. So it's I think he's someone to keep an eye on, especially like when and if fixtures do turn for Arsenal at stages in the season. He could be someone to bring in for Jesus, or if you've gone with sort of the cheap midfield, so as a third forward. And so for me, it would probably be more an upgrade from Mbumo after Brentford's run. I could look at Callum Wilson later on. But yeah, the reason I wanted to, I'm going to be keeping an eye on him is more of what the players behind him were doing. Now, out of every player over the weekend, 4 players had 7 shot creating actions in their game. One of them was a Leeds player. The other 3 were Newcastle players. And those 3 were Saint Maximin, Bruno Guimaraes, and Miguel Almiron. Now, Miguel Almiron is the one that I'm looking at because of his price tag of 5 million, which, like, when did he join Newcastle? About 18 months ago?
3 years ago,
Did he join in the
2 years ago,
January a couple of years ago?
Yeah,
So he's
yeah,
had
I
a
think so.
season and a half where he spent a long time injured. He spent a long time playing under Steve Bruce, but yeah, we saw it at stages towards the end of last season. Eddie Howe's sort of given him this bit of confidence, I think, to sort of really get out, because he did arrive at Newcastle as under sort of a bit of fanfare because of his performances out in Mexico. And yeah, he's got the potential to be a reasonably good player. I mean, considering it's Newcastle.
2019 he joined. I checked.
Yeah, so yeah, 2.5 years ago.
3 years.
Um, so yeah, 5 million. He's someone that I'm eyeing up if where I've got Bailey and Neto. If after sort of 2 or 3 weeks they're still disappointing me, I can then look at him as an asset in midfield. Sort of, yeah, you've got game week 2, 3, like game week 3, Newcastle got City. Game week 5, they've got Liverpool. But then, yeah, Palace, West Ham, like it's not a horrible fixture. Bournemouth, Fulham. So someone potentially for like that game week 7 or game week 8 wild card maybe. Same with Callum Wilson over in Bumo, because yeah, Brentford between 3 and 7 look really good. So yeah, they're my two at the moment. I think Newcastle very interesting for this season. I'm not sure if this Madison deal happens. I'm not sure how that affects the rest of the assets. As I said, like 7 shot creating actions from 3 different midfielders in your team is quite impressive. So yeah,
It is
they're
indeed.
definitely something to keep an eye on over the next um, 2 or 3 weeks. They've got those tricky fixtures though against City and Liverpool.
Right, let's move on then to our hot topic, which is